Dear students, let us see fourth lesson, motion in a plane. In this, the first topic is scalars and vectors. In physics, we can classify quantities as scalars or vectors. Basically, the difference is that a direction is associated with a vector but not with a scalar. Suppose initially I am standing at origin, and if I say I traveled a distance of 3 meters, it can be in any direction. I can travel 3 meters eastward, northward, southward, westward or southward, or in any direction. In any direction I can travel. In any direction I can travel from here to here 3 meters, here to here 3 meters, here. So in any direction I can travel. Only here the magnitude has importance. The direction is not asked. So distance, in case of distance, only magnitude is seen. How much distance you walked, in which direction, that is not mentioned, that is not asked. So such a physical quantity is known as scalar. But unlike that, suppose I had a displacement of 3 meters. If I say, then I should mention the direction also. This displacement has both magnitude and direction. So if I say I had a displacement of 3 meters, immediately you ask me in which direction you had the displacement. In which direction you had the displacement. For example, I mentioned here, I had a displacement of 3 meters toward north. So in this way, you are mentioning magnitude as well as direction. In this way, displacement is a vector. This is a vector. So now you may say, if I travel in this direction, how to mention the direction? Yes, you can travel in this direction also, but how to mention the direction? That is only the problem. You have traveled from origin to this point. You have traveled from origin to this point. So it is 3 meters. Magnitude is 3 meters and direction is shown by the arrow mark. But how you mention? Here if you travel in this direction, you say I traveled 3 meters towards north, you can say. But if you travel in this direction, how you express that? So in this case, the direction is represented by an angle it makes with x-axis. So this angle, by mentioning the angle, you can express the direction. Suppose this angle is some 30 degrees. Now you can write here, I traveled a distance of 3 meters. I traveled a distance of 3 meters, making in a direction making an angle 30 degrees with x-axis means what? East, with east. So in this way you express. A scalar quantity is a quantity with magnitude only. It is specified completely by a single number along with the proper unit. Examples are the distance between 2 points, mass of an object, the temperature of a body, and the time at which a certain event happened. All these are examples for scalars. The rules for combining scalars are of the rules of ordinary algebra. Scalars can be added, subtracted, multiplied, and divided. just as the ordinary numbers. Okay. Now, vector. A vector quantity is a quantity that has both a magnitude and a direction and obeys the triangle law of addition or equivalently the parallelogram law of addition. Some physical quantities that are represented by vectors are displacement, velocity, acceleration, and force. So these are the examples for vectors. Now I should tell you what is triangle law of addition or parallelogram law of addition. Okay, we will have this afterwards. Next topic is position and displacement vectors. You look at this diagram, figure 4.1. This blue curve gives us the actual path followed by a particle. Suppose a particle is at P and after some interval of time it is at P dash. When it was at P, its position was represented by a vector OP with an arrow mark here, and this vector is represented by R. This vector is represented by R. Before coming to this, I should tell you how a vector is represented. To represent a vector, we use a boldface type in this book. Thus, a velocity vector can be represented by a symbol V. See, a thick letter tells you that it is a vector. Now, see V here, it is a thick letter, it is a light, it has light face. So, what is the difference between them? The light face letter indicates magnitude of this vector. Thus, a vector is represented by a bold face. Example, it can be a capital letter or small letters, but bold faced letters represent vector, and their magnitudes are represented by light face letters. You look at this diagram. A particle is traveling along this curve. At time t, it was here, and after delta t seconds, it was here. Now, its position is represented by a straight line connecting origin to that place. So this is a straight line OP. This is a straight line OP connecting the position by origin. So this is a vector. A vector is an see, its length gives the magnitude and the arrow gives the direction. So this OP is known as, this OP is called as position vector. This is known as position vector at t is equal to t. At a certain instant, its position is here, its position vector is represented by this arrow. Now, after delta t seconds, the particle found here. Now, again, if you want to identify its position, you can identify its position with the help of a position vector. Again, you draw a straight line from origin to that place. Suppose this is P dash. Now, OP dash. This is position vector at t is equal to t plus delta t. That is after delta t seconds. So, in this way, position vector is represented like this. Now a particle was here at t is equal to t, and after delta t, so its a position OP represents its position vector. OP represents position vector of particle at t is equal to t, and OP dash represents position vector of particle at t is equal to t plus delta t, that is after delta t seconds. Okay, in delta t seconds the particle moved from this place to this place along the curved path. Now if you want to find see the curved path p dash gives path length. So p dash, the curved path gives the actual path length, but it is a scalar. Path length is a scalar. Why scalar? Because as it is moving along the road, its direction is continuously changing. It has no specific direction. Therefore, path length is a scalar. Now, if I draw a straight line from initial position to final position like this, so I have drawn a straight line from initial position to final position. This is another vector p dash. So this has definite magnitude. The length of the arrow gives magnitude and this arrow mark gives the direction. So p dash has definite magnitude and direction. Therefore, this is a vector and this is known as, so p dash, a straight line from initial position to final position, that is known as displacement vector. It is important to note that displacement vector is the straight line joining the initial and final positions and doesn't depend on the actual path undertaken by the object between the two positions. That's why magnitude of displacement is either less or equal to the path length of an object between 2 points. You can see here. See, now you compare the magnitude of the path length and displacement. The magnitude of displacement is less than that of path length. That's why previously also, in previous lesson also we have written displacement is less or equal to distance or path length. Next topic is equality of vectors. Two vectors A and B are said to be equal if and only if they have the same magnitude and the same direction. In this diagram you can see A vector and B vector having same magnitude. Here the magnitude is represented by length of the arrow. Both are having same length and they are pointing towards the same direction. So you can say A is equal to B. And in here the two vectors are having same magnitude but they are looking in different directions. So these two vectors are not equal. Next topic, multiplication of vectors by real numbers. See here, A vector is given here and if that vector is multiplied by 2, what happens? Its magnitude is doubled in the same direction. Now, if a vector is multiplied by -1, same magnitude, but since it is a negative number, its direction is reversed. And here when the vector A is multiplied by minus 1.5, its magnitude increased by 1.5, and because of minus sign, its direction was reversed. Next topic, addition and subtraction of vectors, graphical method. Now let us consider addition of two vectors in graphical method. Suppose this is A vector, and suppose this is B vector. Now what we do? Instead of taking like this, suppose this is A vector, this is A vector, and let me show another vector like this. See, this is a vector. How much magnitude it has? 1, 2, 3. It has 3 units of magnitude, and it is in this direction. And B is another vector. Its magnitude is 2 units, and it is looking in this direction. Suppose you wanted to add these two vectors. Graphically, how we add? The method we follow is, we bring this vector in touch with this vector such that its tail comes in touch with its head, like this. This is A vector. This A vector is drawn here in same magnitude in the same direction. Now B vector drawn here with the same magnitude and same direction. Its tail comes in touch with its head in this way. Now this gives the sum of the two vectors. This gives the sum of the two vectors, and this is known as triangle law of addition. So this, if we follow this method, see here, the given vectors are so arranged that its head touches its tail. See, head of A touches tail of B. If they are arranged such that, then the third side becomes sum of the given two vectors. So this method is known as head to tail method or triangle method of vector addition. We can add the two vectors in another way also. See, A vector is redrawn here, B vector is in touch with A vector. This time the tails, A tail is in touch with tail of B. Both tails are in touch with each other. In this way they are arranged. Now considering the given two vectors as adjacent sides of a parallelogram. So now we draw a parallelogram. Now we draw a parallelogram. So the given two vectors are made adjacent sides of a parallelogram. Then the diagonal of the parallelogram, gives the vector sum of the two vectors. So this is another graphical method, and this method is known as parallelogram method. This is known as parallelogram method. Okay. Vector addition follows two properties. One is commutative property, another is associative property. What is commutative property? According to commutative property, A plus B is equal to B plus A. According to associative property, A plus B plus C is equal to A plus B plus C. Now first let us check whether vector addition commutative or not. This is vector A. This is vector B. This becomes sum of the two vectors. Sum of two vectors. Now what shall we do? Let us write the A vector here. Here. B vector, let it be there only. Sorry, not here. Let us shift the A vector from this place to this place. This place to this place. Same direction, same magnitude. Okay. Now B plus A. This gives sum of B plus A. This gives sum of B plus A. So you can see this has become a parallelogram. In a parallelogram, opposite sides are equal. This is A plus B, this is B plus A. Both are equal. So A plus B is equal to B plus A. Commutative property verified. And we can verify similarly the associative property also. What is the result of adding two equal and opposite vectors? Consider two vectors A and minus A. A and minus A, these are equal in magnitude and opposite in direction. If you add A and minus A, what you get? Suppose, let us consider an example. Initially you are at origin point and you moved from O to P by 120 meters distance. So that displacement is represented by OP bar. Afterwards, suppose you came back and that displacement is represented by PO vector. So what is the vector addition of these two vectors? The sum of the two vectors, you came back to the same place and this is origin, therefore this is nothing but 0. So in this way the vector sum of the two vectors, its magnitude is becoming 0, therefore this vector is known as null vector. This is known as null vector. So a null vector or a zero vector is defined as A vector A minus vector A is equal to 0 vector. Its magnitude is 0. Since the magnitude of a null vector is 0, its direction cannot be specified. The null vector also results when we multiply a vector A by the number 0. The main properties of null vector are, see, uh, if a if null vector is added to a vector, we get the same vector. And if you multiply null vector by a number, you get null vector. And if you multiply a given vector by zero number, you get null vector. What is the physical meaning of a zero vector? Consider the position and displacement vectors in a plane. Now suppose that an object which is at P at time t moves to P dash and then comes back to P. Then what is its displacement? Since the initial and final positions coincide, the displacement is a null vector. Subtraction of vectors can be defined in terms of addition of vectors. How we define the difference? Like this: A plus minus B. And graphically, how we represent, let us see. Suppose this is A vector and suppose this is B vector. Now what we do? This A vector is okay, same magnitude and in the same direction. Now minus B, if this is B vector, same magnitude but reverse direction. This becomes minus B. This becomes minus B. If this is plus B, this is minus B. Both are having same length but direction reversed. So this is A vector, this is B vector, and these two are arranged such that in the head-tail method, this is head of A vector, this is tail of B vector, both in touch with each other. Now this becomes the resultant of the two. So A plus minus B. So this becomes the resultant. Now let us do solved example 4.1. Rain is falling vertically with a speed of 35 meters per second. Rain is falling vertically with a speed of, say, velocity of rain. How much? 35 meters per second. So this is a vector, velocity vector, velocity of rain. This arrow, its length represents magnitude and this arrow mark represents direction, vertically downward. Rain is falling. Now, wind starts blowing after some time with a speed 12 meters per second in east to west direction. In east to west direction. In this direction. Velocity of wind. How much? 12 meters per second. 12 meters per second. In this direction, wind is blowing. So, on the raindrop, simultaneously, see, these two vectors are working. So, if there is no wind, the raindrop will fall down vertically. But because of wind, it will not fall down vertically. It will change its direction. So in which direction it falls, that you want to know, and its direction will be decided by the vector sum of these two vectors. So how to add the two vectors? We have two methods. One is head to tail method and there is parallelogram method. Let us follow parallelogram method. Since these are appearing to you as adjacent sides of a parallelogram, now what all you have to do is to complete the parallelogram. Now the parallelogram is completed. Now take diagonal. This is the diagonal. So this diagonal gives the sum of the two vectors. So in this direction the rain will fall. Therefore, if you want to hold umbrella, the umbrella should be held in this direction. It must be held in this direction. So making an angle theta with the vertical axis. Okay. Now first let us find the resultant magnitude. So the resultant magnitude will be, see, this is a right angle triangle. See, the opposite sides are equal. Here this is 12 means this also 12. This is 35 means this also 35. So for this right angle triangle, the diagonal is the resultant. So the magnitude of the resultant is, you can find using Pythagoras theorem. Hypotenuse square is equal to base square plus height square, or r is equal to so because of wind blowing, the rain, instead of falling vertically, it will fall in this direction with this velocity. Okay. Now you want to represent the direction also. The direction is represented by angle theta, and you want to measure the angle. How to measure the angle? Since this is a right angle triangle, let us write tan theta. Tan theta is defined as opposite by adjacent. So the opposite value is 12 and adjacent side is 35. Now theta is equal to tan inverse of 0.343, that is equal to 90 degrees. So how the umbrella must be held? The umbrella must be held making an angle 90 degrees with vertical. It should make 19 degrees with vertical towards east. The umbrella should tilt towards east direction by making an angle 90 degrees with the vertical.